Age takes its toll. But it doesn't take the fight out of everyone.
Chocolate chip?
What turns a loving grandmother into a gun-toting monster?
She wanted control and would do anything to get control.
Why does a retirement home romance turn lethal?
She was absolutely crushed. She was beside herself.
And what secrets is this grasping woman hiding?
There's no age limit on gold diggers.
These deadly women look like sweet little grannies. But they prove when it comes to murder, you're never too old. In 2012, 17-year-old Jonathan Hoffman is a high school senior in Detroit, Michigan.
He was an average, good teenage kid. He liked computers, online games, he loved cars. He'd never been in any trouble, and he loved his family.
He's living with his grandmother, 74-year-old Sandra Layne.
Chocolate chip?
You done your homework yet?
Soon.
A retired teacher,
Now.
Sandra's determined to see her grandson graduate. Jonathan's sister is seriously ill at home in Arizona.
You got it.
Can I have a cookie now?
So Sandra's happily agreed to have him live with her.
I promise.
Good.
When Jonathan first arrived there, it was apparent that Sandra seemed delighted by this. She wanted to take care of him. She adored her grandson.
But things soon start to change. Jonathan's no longer her cute little boy.
He started hanging out with a certain group of kids. They were hanging out late at night. They've been into this synthetic marijuana, spice.
It's a recipe for trouble.
Jonathan! Open this door right now. Jonathan!
Sandra signed up for her sweet, loving, devoted, good grandson. But that's not what she got.
Turn down a bit.
What she got was a troubled teen.
Happy?
What are you doing in there?
Nothing.
To her husband, Fred, the teenager's behavior is a red flag.
He needs to go back to his parents.
No, he doesn't. I can handle him.
But Sandra still thinks she can control her grandson.
You wouldn't listen to their authority at times. Kind of a tough situation for them. Does seem like they kind of bit off more than they could chew.
Jonathan becomes increasingly rebellious. One night, he experiments with magic mushrooms. But it goes dangerously wrong.
Magic mushrooms can give distortions of perceptions. Sometimes euphoria, sometimes panic and agitation, something known as a bad trip.
He was hallucinating. He was not in good shape at all. He knew he was in trouble.
I think I'm dying. Help me.
Jonathan is rushed to the ER.
You could have killed yourself.
I know.
Worried that he's out of control, his mother races from Arizona to be by his side.
Eat your food.
Mom wants him in rehab.
So what's the story?
We found a place in Utah.
He is not going to rehab.
Mom, he's going.
Over my dead body.
But Sandra digs in her heels.
Sandra Layne would have no part of that. She said, "You are not taking Jonathan. Over my dead body will you put him in that facility."
Eat it. Eat it.
Why wouldn't a woman want her troubled, drug-using grandchild to get help? Perhaps Sandra thought that because she had been a teacher and she was Jonathan's grandmother, that she knew best.
More.
And maybe she simply wanted to control him.
When they return home, Sandra resolves to show Jonathan who's boss.
You're sure you don't want me to stay away?
Take the dog for a walk. I'll handle this. Get up. Get up.
Every time that Sandra would send her husband out of the house to walk the dog,
Your behavior in this house is unacceptable.
it would be because of an argument between the two, and Jonathan would get pretty loud.
You're not my mother.
No.
Their arguments become increasingly heated and ugly.
Can you just get out of my room, please?
Andrew!
Just go. Go take the dog for a walk.
You would think she had so many reasons to send him back to his parents or have him put in a facility, but no, she was determined. She was going to control this boy, and he was going to do what she told him to do, period.
Don't you dare touch me!
I'll touch you as much as I like.
She wouldn't let go.
Do you hear me? You got it?
Sure.
It's not unusual for teenagers to not respect older people, even their own grandparents. But grandparents have far less control on a child than their own parents do. And that was the case in this household.
Less than a week after Jonathan's drug overdose, he's in trouble again. He's caught red-handed.
So, at this point, things are really kind of going wrong for him in a lot of ways. The possession of marijuana put him on probation.
To compound matters, drug-related teenage violence is on the rise in the neighborhood.
That really unsettled Sandra Layne even more. And she'd always been one to overreact to situations. And so she got afraid. She got very afraid.
So afraid, she takes action.
Get out of my room!
This is my house. While you're in my house, you will do as I say.
Retired teacher Sandra Layne is used to controlling others.
Okay, it's no wonder that Mom hates you.
Do not bring your mother into this.
But her grandson Jonathan won't listen.
I'll touch you as much as I like.
Jonathan's behavior was escalating, and the grandparents were not equipped to deal with it.
Sandra decides to take out some insurance.
She got a gun, and she learned how to shoot it.
Squeeze the trigger.
Sandra Layne seemed to think that trouble was right around the corner, and she was going to be ready for it.
But she doesn't tell a soul.
She had an agenda. Perhaps she was afraid that Fred would say, "We're not living in the house with a gun." But perhaps it was something else.
On May 18th, 2012, Jonathan undergoes a drug test, part of his probation.
The night before, Jonathan had once again done some spikes. Why he was that stupid, I don't know. I can only say he was a teenager and they don't look for consequences quite often.
Inevitably, he tests positive. When Sandra picks him up, he's in hot water.
The consequences of failing a drug test were very real. It meant he was going to jail.
You're not going to Arizona.
If I don't go to Arizona, I'm gonna go to jail.
You're going to jail if you leave Michigan, you idiot.
He didn't want to do that. He wanted to run away to Arizona, back to Mama and Papa.
Just give me some goddamn money!
Get off! Get off!
She said no.
Get off, will you?
Absolutely not.
Look, I've just about had enough of you. Just grow up.
Or what?
You just wait and see, okay?
Jonathan is determined to leave,
Jonathan!
but nobody defies Sandra.
What's going on?
Take the dog for a walk.
Sandra looked like a sweet suburban grandmother. But that wasn't the whole story. She could be dictatorial, controlling, and sadistic. Rather than let him walk out the door, she took action.
Jonathan's staying one way or another.
Sandra said she went and got the gun to make Jonathan listen. When someone brings out a gun to make a point, someone's going to die.
She shot him. Here's Grandma. Grandma who used to pick him up and take him out to get an ice cream cone. Grandma who was always there. And she shot him again. Got out of the bathroom. She shot him in the bedroom.
I warned you.
Miraculously, Jonathan's still alive. Sandra leaves, but not to get help. To reload.
Jonathan was terrified. He was feeling pain. The smell of gun smoke hung in the air, ears ringing from the retort.
Sandra's gone for 3 minutes. 3 minutes in which the teenager frantically tries to save his life. He calls 911, begging them to hurry.
I've been shot. My grandma shot me.
It must have been a horrific time for him. A time of terror, betrayal, and agony.
At this point, he's starting to lose blood pressure. He's bleeding profusely. He's feeling faint.
I'm gonna die.
Jonathan prays the police reach him before his grandma does.
She's coming. She's coming.
His grandmother came back up the steps, hunting him with the gun like a caged animal.
She shot me again.
Police arrive to the sound of gunfire. Tragically, they're just too late.
17 and gone. Because one of the people in his life that he should have been able to trust with every fiber of his being, that woman, his grandmother, shot him dead.
Sandra surrenders to the police,
I shot my grandson.
Put the gun on the floor.
but she claims self-defense.
Where is he?
He's just up there, up the stairs.
She was concerned that he was going to get his hands on the gun. There was kind of a struggle at one point, at least her version of the events, and she was very concerned that she was going to be the one to die.
But her story unravels as soon as investigators listen to Jonathan's 911 call.
The 911 operator listens to his last words, hears his last breath. Jonathan died, with Sandra still talking in the background.
The recording ensures Sandra Layne is convicted of murder. In March 2013, she's sentenced to a minimum of 22 years in prison.
She could have walked out, simply left, but she shot him some more. That's not self-defense. That's murder.
Sandra Layne could not tolerate Jonathan challenging her authority.
Here was a woman who wanted control and would not tolerate the slightest defiance of her will. For that, Jonathan Hoffman died.
Old age may dull the senses,
She felt like she had been mistreated.
but nothing dulls the pain
She was absolutely crushed. She was beside herself.
of a broken heart.
She kind of came unglued.
An assisted living facility in Atlanta is 76-year-old Lena Driskell's new home. She recently became a widow.
Lena and her husband actually met in childhood. She was 9 years old when they attended school together. Years later, they got married and actually were married for 30 years.
I never loved any other man.
Oh, so sweet. Loving, devoted wife and caregiver to her first husband.
Residents welcome Lena to the fold, particularly 83-year-old Herman Winslow.
This is my new bridge partner.
Herman Winslow was a dedicated family man. Grandfather, he was considered a patriarch of the family.
Herman's charming nature makes him popular with the ladies.
Hi, I'm Herman.
I believe Mr. Winslow and one of those gentlemen that were just really friendly with all the ladies in the old folks' home.
You care to join us for a game of bridge?
I don't play bridge.
I could teach you.
Maybe another time, Herman.
Like Lena, he is recently bereaved and eager to make new friends.
Lena was attractive. She'd kept herself in good shape, and she really looked like that sweet grandmother next door. They met on that very first day, and Herman really pursued her. He liked her and started asking her out.
Would you like to dance?
Not a chance.
She kept pushing it away. She wasn't really interested in going out with anybody.
Herman pursued her romantically for 3 months.
I'm free if you want to have that bridge lesson.
No thanks, Herman. What is it, Herman?
Hi, I was just wondering if you'd like to join me for dinner at my place today.
Like water on stone, Herman slowly wears down Lena's resistance.
Yeah. Oh, come on.
Finally, she gave in, and she agreed to have dinner with him.
Herman sure knows how to stage a date night.
When she went up to his room on the second floor, she found a beautiful table set, pink champagne, and by then she was just gone.
That was the turning point. After that, they were a steady item for over a year.
They both love to travel.
I love Florida.
Florida it is then.
Have we saved up enough?
They share their interests and their nest eggs.
Enough for a 5-star holiday.
They traveled together, and they even opened a checking account together. Lena was totally head over heels in love with Herman. She really expected that he would pop the question any day now.
But Herman soon finds out. Lena likes to keep him on a tight leash. She doesn't trust him around other women.
Herman?
She claimed that he had women coming and going at all hours, every hour on the hour.
Herman, now!
Herman was 85 years old. I don't know what he was eating for breakfast, but I doubt that he was involved with that level of sexual activity.
What?
Flirting again, I see.
Just talking.
Him is being neighborly and being friendly with all of it. She took it as something more.
You're always just talking. To her,
Herman is shocked by Lena's behavior
You crazy.
and cools the relationship. But ending it won't be easy.
problems?
Sick of that woman. Blah, blah, blah.
Jealousy is one of the most common motivators of murder. But don't take my word for it. Ask Lena Driskell.
Lena Driskell thinks her boyfriend is the retirement home Casanova. But on June 10th, 2005, she's giving him one last chance.
They were supposed to have been going to a cookout, and he didn't want to go, or he didn't show up.
Where's Herman? He's meant to be here.
Lena, I haven't seen Herman.
Already jealous, Lena is now humiliated and hurt.
She kind of came unglued.
Have you seen Herman?
No, Lena, I haven't seen Herman.
Lena only ever had one husband. Being dumped is a new experience.
Lena was absolutely crushed. She was beside herself. She couldn't believe that Herman dumped her.
That night, Lena wants answers.
Lena went looking for trouble when she entered his apartment.
And when she got there, she saw the setup for like a romantic dinner, and she felt that he was having someone over, and she was upset about it.
What are you doing here?
You stood me up.
I think it really crushed Lena to feel like she was yesterday's news.
I didn't want to go.
That's because you had some twat coming over here.
She didn't think she'd be one in a string of women. She thought she was the one.
You drunk.
Lena is enraged by Herman's betrayal.
Lena was already upset and unstable when she saw evidence that he was going to be with another woman. Lena wouldn't take that very well.
Herman! What's the problem?
It's Lena.
Herman retreats downstairs to get security.
Okay, wait here, take a seat. I'll go talk to her.
So Herman walked out of his apartment, get the security to assist him with getting Lena Driskell out of his apartment.
But Lena's already fled.
Lena goes to her room and gets a gun that she's had for many years.
She's armed, loaded, and angry.
She goes down to the lobby where the security guard tries to shoo her away from Herman,
Lena, go back to your room.
but she refuses to go.
I've got something to show him.
Go back to your room or I'll call the police.
Go ahead and call the police. I'm not afraid to go to jail.
Lena maneuvered around the security guard, walked over to where Herman Winslow was on the couch.
Lena shot Herman 4 times in the head because she wasn't trying to scare him. She wanted him dead.
Lieutenant Doug Little is called to the crime scene.
I've been in law enforcement 26 years. Never come across a case like this before. Very unusual. Everybody was just sitting around, eating fruit cocktail, reading magazines, knitting. I said, well, here's the shooting victim.
Okay, so we have a shooting victim.
Who shot this guy? Here was this elderly lady standing there pointing a pistol in my direction.
I shot him.
I had pulled my gun out, but I put it behind my back so she couldn't see it.
You shot him, ma'am?
He was cheating on me.
She's very lucky that she wasn't killed that night. And I think her age played a big part in her not being shot.
Ma'am, I need you to put the gun on the floor.
After a few minutes conversation, I got her to put the gun down and we resolved the situation with no further violence.
The way Lena was thinking, killing someone because they didn't want to see her anymore was justifiable homicide.
In 2006, Lena Driskell is convicted of first-degree murder. On appeal, her sentence is reduced to voluntary manslaughter.
The 13 years I worked homicide, this was the most unique homicide case that I had a chance to handle.
What makes a law-abiding 78-year-old murder out of jealousy is still unclear.
Lena knew right from wrong. She was not senile. Lena thought she was entitled to kill a man simply because he didn't love her as much as she loved him.
In 2011, just 5 years later, Lena is released. Her case is still the talk of Atlanta police circles.
It's not uncommon for death to visit a retirement home, but it's very, very rare for it to be part of a love gone wrong.
Next, with age comes experience.
Everything she did was focused on herself.
But no matter how old you are,
what does she really want? What is she really after here?
love is blind.
There's no age limit on gold diggers.
That is beautiful.
Waco, Texas, 2002.
He's got good taste, my man.
70-year-old Rowena Ledbetter loves being spoiled.
Rowena Ledbetter looked like anyone's grandmother. Sweet, kind, she was a nurse.
Her new boyfriend, widower Herman Wilson, is ready to start over.
Herman thought he was lucky to be dating a hot, younger woman. She was 70, but he was 85.
I haven't seen you this happy in years. I never thought I could be this happy again.
Despite the age gap, Herman has no trouble keeping up with his vivacious girlfriend.
He was just a really nice gentleman who was full of life and happy.
Things seem to be going well between them. They go out to meals together. They go for walks. She seems to love this guy.
Herman thinks he's found the perfect match, but he doesn't really know Rowena.
She had kind of a colored history as far as her relationships.
Rowena had been married 7 times.
70 years old, married 7 times. 7 times. 7 ex-husbands. That's remarkable.
Rowena divorced some of her exes, while others passed away. Now, another marriage is in the air.
Most people would be wary of getting hitched to someone who'd already been married 7 times.
I've been thinking.
Herman should have been nervous about that, but there's a good chance he didn't know. She probably lied to him.
Come on, Herman, spit it out.
Will you be my wife?
So Rowena was dangling the carrot in front of this guy constantly. Look, I'll move in with you, but put me in your will.
Herman's hooked and happy to comply.
Are you sure you want to make me a beneficiary?
Yes. I want you to be looked after.
The couple makes plans for the future. Rowena knows how to keep Herman happy.
Rowena would be cooking him his meals, day in, day out.
I've got your favorite soup.
Oh, yummy.
She wanted to do this. It was something she offered to him.
But their newfound love is interrupted when Herman falls ill.
He begins to experience these severe health problems. And he's having like mini strokes.
I'm taking you to...
Doctors put Herman's sudden sickness down to old age.
Herman had been healthy, but he was 85. Health problems are to be expected.
Herman has no children of his own, but does have loving nieces.
Just what the doctor ordered.
They are concerned.
Listen, Uncle, these turns you've been having, they've all started since you've been seeing Rowena.
I'm 85.
They were convinced that she had something to do with it, that she was trying to hurt him somehow.
I don't trust her.
Why do you say that?
They also became aware that he had put her in the will.
I think she's after your money.
No. She wouldn't do a thing like that. She's a good woman.
They were concerned about her wishes for him were not entirely pure.
We had, it'd make us feel better if you took her out of the will.
So, that's what it's about.
They convince their uncle to remove Rowena from his will. Miraculously, Herman makes a total recovery.
I'm sorry it's come to this. But they are my family, Rowena.
I don't care about your money or your will. I just want to be with you.
And the couple make marriage plans. But Rowena has one more secret.
Well,
we have here?
Something special.
I'm glad you like it, sweetheart.
She's already married.
She's still married to husband number 7.
Cecil Forson is old and affluent, just how Rowena likes her men.
A lovely wife.
Rowena met husband number 7 at a retirement center where she worked. It's a good place to meet a guy who's on the way out and probably has money.
I do love you.
Both of Rowena's men think they're her one and only.
I don't believe that Herman knew that she was married to someone else, and I don't think that Mr. Fortson knew that she was seeing someone else on the side.
So Rowena, at 70 years old, is a player. She's playing these 2 men.
Rowena likes to have her cake and eat it too.
Rowena's husbands and lovers showered her with gifts. She liked that. That's what was in it for her, not the love and affection, the stuff.
And there was definitely something very, very dark lying beneath her sweet grandmother appearance.
I made a Rowena beneficiary again.
Having written his fiancée, Rowena Ledbetter, out of his will, Herman Wilson changes his mind.
At some point, he was convinced of, I guess, her pure heart and changed his will back to make her a beneficiary.
You just need to sign here.
I'd just like to look at it one more time before you sign.
His family were concerned about some things that they noticed. They were warning signs. Herman ignored their advice. She sat and read the will line by line. Her boldness knew no bounds.
Okay, sign away.
She wants to make sure that not only is she in the will, but she's gonna get what he promises to her.
Herman has no idea Rowena is still married to husband number 7.
Rowena was living a double life. She was married to one guy and dating another widow. Rowena was 70 when she did this. There's no age limit on gold diggers.
Smells good, huh?
On April 21st, 2002, just 48 hours after Rowena becomes a beneficiary of Herman's will, she shows her gratitude with a special treat.
She apparently came to his house earlier in the morning and cooked breakfast for the 2 of them.
She makes biscuits and gravy. You know, that is a classic, deep Southern, Southwestern meal. And Herman loved it.
Herman, you okay? Herman, you okay? I'll call 911.
She calls 911 and she says, "I believe he's choking. Someone needs to get here immediately."
He has something stuck in his throat. Can you please send someone, please?
Herman now realizes his family is right. Rowena is trying to kill him. On the way to the hospital, he musters his strength.
Sir, you have to leave that on.
He told the ambulance driver that he thought he was being poisoned and he thought she was trying to kill him.
Okay, I'll look into that, but for now, you need to put this on.
Tragically, they are Herman's last words.
9 hours later now, Herman succumbs. He dies. Or was he murdered?
Herman's dying message sparks an immediate investigation.
And they collected the food from the meal that he had shared with Rowena that morning.
They test that food, and what do they find? Abnormal amounts of pesticides are in that food.
Rowena is the obvious suspect, and her recent shopping habits confirm Herman's allegations.
Rowena buys a huge amount of a pesticide that's used to kill fire ants and scorpions.
Rowena leaves a trail of evidence behind her, including a backup plan to poison Herman in the hospital if he survived.
We find traces of the same pesticide in a prescription bottle that's found in Rowena's purse on the day she brings him to the hospital. I mean, it couldn't be more obvious who committed this crime.
For Rowena, the way to a man's heart and his wallet was through his stomach.
In 2003, Rowena is found guilty of first-degree murder and sentenced to life in prison.
When Rowena would bring food over to Herman, it wasn't so much the acts of a loving girlfriend. It was the planning and calculating of a manipulative killer.
There's one more twist for this Black Widow. Her weapon of choice will be her own undoing.
Rowena died a horrible death only 9 months later in prison. She choked on food she was eating. Poetic justice? I say yes.
These deadly women came to crime late in life. Sandra Layne's need to control killed her grandson. Lena Driskell wasn't a woman to be scorned. And Rowena Ledbetter served up poison with a smile. When it came to killing, these women proved you're never too old.